Hey everybody, Spectrum Minecraft here, and today, for the first time ever on this channel, I'm going to bring you guys some League of Legends stuff. And I'm sure that a lot of you guys play League of Legends, because lots of people do. It can be a really frustrating game, and that's why today I'm bringing you guys my tips on how to climb the ladder in ranked, and specifically get out of bronze, because I'm going to show you guys the most basic, tips and things that I should really show you. A lot of the things in ranked are based on hard work, dedication, and your mindset throughout the games you play. So it's much more, you think it's really skill based when you start out, but as you kind of continue, you realize that it's a lot more just based on, actually there's a bit of strategy that goes into it, and just like knowing the game more than actually having the skill, because the skill comes easy. It's not a very difficult game to play, it's more the knowledge of the game. So first things first, if you're stuck in bronze or any of the low elos on League of Legends, you gotta understand that it's a team game too, based over knowledge and strategy than skill. Because it's great if you can hit skill shots and combos and stuff like that, but if you can't take any map control or dominate any objectives, you won't be able to win the games. That's basically gonna bring us to our first point here. Attitude is undisputably the most important thing in the game, because even if you're really bad, or you have bad teammates who have a great attitude, at some points in your game, especially if you're newer to the game, that might make you mad because they're not that great. But having attitude, never underestimate this, because it's incredibly important. Like, it might sound like something that your mother used to tell you, have a great attitude and stuff like that, but not only will it improve your experience in the game and how much you enjoy playing it, but you will learn that you can literally make a comeback from any game. Like, don't be the guy who rage quits after giving up first blood or something like that, or don't be the guy that just like screams at his teammates and stuff. Don't be a rager, just have a great attitude about everything, because kills and stuff like that are one thing in the game, but do not rage over them, because League of Legends isn't just about getting kills. You're supposed to push towers. Like, throwing the game because you're not getting as many kills as possible is kind of a malarkey statement, just because you win for pushing towers, not getting kills, as they do help a lot, and securing tons of kills helps. But when you're low elo, some things you're going to want to focus on is not even just like worrying about stuff like that, just focus on objectives, getting the game down. Don't make stupid engages, be careful, and have a great attitude about everything, because I've won many games where we were down at least 20 kills and we could still win, just because we had the ability to push lanes and not rage. Like, if you throw, when you rage, when you decide that you don't want to win, is when there's no way that you're going to win, if your whole team isn't working together and trying to secure the win. So honestly, if someone on your team is losing lane, they'll call them every degrading word that you know, because this will make them angry at you and increase their resolve to go from losing to trolling, and then make it even worse. Instead, act like the really nice kid at school that no one really likes because he's so nice and makes everyone else feel like a douche. But be the person who thinks that everyone's a winner and only gives out gold medals, because this is honestly, super helpful to your team. Like, if you're kind of a rager, this is going to seem really cheesy to you, but it helps so much, because in the aspect of League of Legends, just hand out a tons of good jobs, nice tries, even if you're biting your tongue at how bad your teammates are. You're going to meet tons of noobs in bronze, and where you are, you probably already know this if you've been there a long time. Sadly, most of them will be on your team. This is going to make it a lot easier to carry, and this is going to bring me to my next point. It is incredibly important to learn how to counter build. Honestly, especially if you're a noob to the game, this is what this guide's for, I guess. You're going to want to find set builds to build off and look what's really good. Like, honestly, there are lots of things that are really good with champions that you should always get that scale really well with their abilities and stuff like that. But when you're in the lane phase, don't stick straight to like the build that you have, especially if you're losing lane. Too many times I've seen top laners get shredded because they rush themselves with Vampire Scepter when their opponents have a Hydra, because they're losing lane, they're getting destroyed, and then building damage is not going to help you out of that. If you get beat in the first place, don't get more damage. What you're going to want to do is actually get defense and stuff like that. Anything that helps you, like protect you against them, increase your survivability so that they have even a more harder time trying to kill you. Because if you get a lot of AD, you're probably not going to snowball that game anyways. You should just relax a bit, get some good defense items. Like, if you're losing lane, say to someone like a Jace or someone with a ton of CC, You get a thorn mail to protect yourself from AD poke and stuff like that, or just AD like in general that really counters AD champions. And I hardly ever see thorn mails and stuff. Quicksilver sashes help you against lots of CC where you can break out enemy debuffs and stuff like that, and you can build that into Mercurial Scepters. And low elos, I hardly ever see items like that, but they can really help you pick your way out of lane. Like if you're losing lane 0-4, it always is possible to make a comeback. And this being said, I'm not saying that like specifically your ADC should get a Warmogs or anything. Like there are things that you should get with specific people, and ADCs just don't do that. But you can literally turn around lanes that you're losing by like up to 5 kills just by buying a counter item and just by playing smart. Now this point's incredibly obvious, and I wouldn't, obviously you guys would have thought about this a lot if you're trying to get through. Just master the game, get really good. Like smurfing golds and platinums and diamonds can basically carry any game through low elos just because everyone else there doesn't really know what to do. So if you master the game yourself, you can practically carry anything. There's lots of DCs, lots of AFKs, lots of trolls, but chances are that's going to happen to the other team as well. And if you have a good attitude, learn how to master the game, you can just get out. And to master the game, it's a good idea if you didn't already. But in fact, not just one role, because if you have just one role that you're good at, that just sucks with team synergies and stuff. Like your team isn't going to want to work with you. If you just want ADC and someone else wants it, you're going to fight over it. Just learn how to fill lanes and do all of them decently well. It's better to be good at 5 lanes decently than to be incredibly good at 1 lane but suck at everything else, because that's going to make it difficult for you to get through rank. To get better, you want to watch pro streams, read champion guides, and obviously practice a lot. We'll learn how to get objectives and stuff on the map, like when is a good time to go for dragon, how you're going to maximize your late game effectiveness with your team. Learn all the stuff like that. Learn about how CS, map control, ward positions, how to counter fight with teams and stuff like that. Like honestly, at this point in League of Legends, ADCs are still incredibly effective, but I see lots of people are kind of thinking that they're losing how good they are, especially in the low elos. Like things that stomp low elos, I'm not gonna lie, is 5 tanky bruisers on a team. But if you know how to ADC and you have a proper ADC get fed, they just shred through tanks, and they're so important to have, as long as they have other people peel for them, as long as you have the same, as long as you know what you're doing and have good fights and stuff like that, that makes it really well. So stuff like that when you're jungling, it's probably a better idea to stay around in the jungle between mid and bot lane instead of top lane, because top lane, as much as you can camp it, as long as your top lane's like, don't camp lanes with tanks in them, because regardless, if you help them get fed, you're just gonna have a bigger tank late game. Help the ADC, because your ADC will shred their tank and make it, you'll just shred them. That will be really useful and much, much more important to get an ADC fed and use them to their full potential. That being said, as long as it's a good ADC or whatever. But yeah, that's probably another really important thing that you're going to want to look for. Just remember that if you really do deserve to get out of bronze, you will get out. Out of all the people in bronze, a lot of people say that some people are really good, but they're just stuck there because they're handicapped by teammates. And if that's really the case, if they deserve to get out, they would. And their skill difference would probably only merit them as silver, which the skill gap between silver and bronze is practically the same thing. Anyways, the people that you do get placed with in your games is not based on who's in your league, but instead based on your win-loss ratio. I'd say it's based on your skill, but you could have skill and you can get carried lots, or you can not have skill and you still win lots of games. But based on, if you have a lot more wins than loses, and you're in bronze or silver, you could possibly get matched up with low elo golds and even platinums. I've had silver accounts where I got matched with platinum. I think I saw a diamond before or something like that, just because if you win like lots of games, you'll get placed with people who have your elo or whatever. I guess that's what it would be called, because I'm not too familiar with how the ranking system works. But I do know that you do get placed with people who have around your wins, and then if you have lots and lots of more wins than losses in silver, you get placed with possibly low elo platinums, golds, stuff like that. My last point's really quick. It's just picking the right champion. A lot of people say that the champion that you pick doesn't really matter, but that's not true, because all champions are good, but some champions are better than others, especially right now. Because especially in low elos where your teams don't really work together all that much, it's better just to get yourself fed, get yourself the carry. Junglers should give their lanes kills, but if you don't trust them and they're bad, there's no point in giving them kills if they're not going to be able to use a late game. So what you're going to want to do is get incredibly powerful, high mobility, assassin-like champions, like really good Kassadins, Kha'Zix's, Riven, Shaco's, Fizzes, Shakos, I guess, I don't know. Like really in low elos where they're incredibly effective. No one really knows how to shut them down, and you can really rely on yourself more because you have the escapes, you have the damage. You don't need a team around you, and you can pick people off really well. Like teamfight teams are better for teams that really know how to work together in higher elos, but in the low elos, just work about getting fed, getting assassins, getting high mobility champions. My friend he's from Platinum, and he carried a game as Lee Sin on my friend's bronze account, and he had 13 out of the 15 kills on his team and just carried the game. So crazy, because that isn't the greatest scenario. Like fed Lee Sin would thrash everyone, but the rest of his team was useless. But just because he was so fed, they surrendered at 20 minutes because he scared them so much. But they probably would have been able to win just because they had other fed people on their team. If they grouped up, they definitely would have won the team fight, because he couldn't carry, because the rest of his team, well, he did carry, but the rest of his team was, pretty bad. Like it was virtually a 5v1 because he was so fed, because he had so much mobility, because he knew what was going on early. He could just carry the entire game. And yeah, so those are most of the points. Really, having a great attitude, don't give up, and be really patient with it, because it comes with time. Especially if you've been in that league forever, you gain a lot less IP than you lose, and that's going to be a pain in the ass to get out. Other things that I'd want to add is just be a hard ass. Don't people are gonna talk so much crap to you that it's gonna be pretty bad. So you just gotta learn how to ignore verbal abuse if you're already there good. But some people get really offended by that, and that's kind of why they lose games, because they start to throw and stuff. Just have a thick skin. Ignore your team if they're just flaming, and just kind of play on, and just don't give up. And if you're a rager and you know it, being stuck in bronze is like being an alcoholic. I saw this, someone wrote this before, it was really cool. The first step is acknowledging your problems, so that's why being bronze is like being an alcoholic. Don't be a rager, just relax, having an attitude. Remember, most important thing. That's it for this video, guys. I really hope it helps you out. If you have any tips or anything you'd like to put in the comments to think that I should have put in here instead, any suggestions for videos in the future, and if you like League of Legends, comment. Please like the video, favorite it, help me out, because it helps me out so much, guys. Thank you so much for watching if you got this far in the video. Thanks again, Spectrum out.